All right. Well, welcome to another week pre-algebra class. This section is going to be called negative numbers. And so here we go. All right. This is going to be your first week being introduced to our lesson plan. And again, you've seen it before. We've worked it through ConnectU, but hopefully you get a better understanding of what's expected in these weekly videos and what you can continue to work on. So again, this is going to be entitled Negative Numbers. And like anything else, we have what's called a learning target. By the end of this video, my hope is for you to be able to answer this question. I can identify and solve addition and subtraction problems with negative numbers in real world scenarios, right? Not just on paper, but where can I apply in real world scenarios? So moving forward, in this checkpoint, if you click on the checkpoint itself, the title, you'll be given a lesson plan that looks familiar to you. Yes, you have used this in ConnectU, and you will be using this from the rest of the year every time we post a video. So looking at this photo, what's a two notices and a wonder that you see? All right, and this idea with temperature, is there a two notices and wonder? And kind of think of negative numbers, or another word we call our integers. Can you think of something that you noticed in a question that you had that could be answered at the end? So take a moment, pause the video, and fill out that section in the lesson plan. So hopefully you're noticing some couple of different things here with temperature is that we can, in a sense, have negative temperature, right? We can have, and we had in the past, which is very cold, temperature below zero, and we call that negative, right? -8, -9. And to the left, we see something very hotter sense. We have things in the 60s or the 50s, and it's positive. So even something as temperature shows that negative is below zero and positive is above zero. And hopefully we've kind of gained that knowledge. What do I already know? Hopefully you already know that an integer or negative numbers are counting numbers and their opposites, right? So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, and their opposites are -1, -2, -3, and -4. And a reminder that 0 in the middle there is neither negative nor positive. All right, it's just kind of in the middle, but it shows that everything going to the left on a number line is negative, everything going to the right is positive. It doesn't matter where you start on a number line, that will always be the same. So hopefully by now you know the idea about integers and a number line. So rules behind negative numbers, and I've shared this in the document in your lesson plan as well. I love this. I call it my little cheat sheet. And what we're looking at is adding and subtracting integers. So if you look at adding, we have what's called same sign. So if they're the same sign, so for an example there, we have +4 and +9 equals +9. All right, so if they're the same sign, we keep the sign. Even if it's -4 plus -5, it's still -9. We're simply just adding and keeping the sign. Now, if they're different, we say we subtract and we keep the sign of the bigger number. So if you look at the examples down there, -4 plus 5, they're different signs. So we subtract like we normally do. We take 5 minus 4 and get 1. And then we go back and say, what is the biggest number? Well, it's 5. So it's positive. So it ends up being a +1. The second example is the same thing. We're going to have different signs. We subtract to get 1. But if we go back and find the bigger number, it's 5 again, but the sign is negative. So once we find that bigger number, that sign becomes a part of our answer. So it becomes -1. Subtraction, all right, I like this kind of phrase. It's called keep, change, change. And what you're actually doing is you're changing subtraction to addition. So if you have a subtraction problem, your goal is to change it to go back to the left one on the left side of that paper. So subtraction, we say keep, change, change. So an example would be if we had something like +4 minus -4. We would keep the first number and sign the same. So +4 stays +4. The subtraction sign always is changed to addition. So now we have net +4 plus the -4 changes the sign. If it's negative, it changes to positive. If it's positive, it goes negative. So in this case, it's a -4, so we change it to a +4. So we have +4 plus +4, and if we we have changed it to an addition problem. So we go to the left again and say, okay, the same sign or different sign. In this case, it's the same sign. So we just add and keep the sign and get positive 8. So hopefully these rules come in handy for you, and you can use that resource under the Explore section in the read part. And you can print this off and use this for your benefit, because this is a great kind of sheet to have while we're working through negative numbers. So here's how it looks, and I have some examples here for you. So if I get my writing tool out, my trusty writing tool, I have negative 21 plus negative 13, and we know from our addition rules that same sign, we just add and keep the sign. So in this case, 21 plus 13 is going to be 34. And again, it's both negative, so I keep the negative. Same thing for the bottom, all right? We have, not the same thing, excuse me, we have different signs now. We have negative 21 plus 13. So different signs mean I subtract first. So 21 minus 13 becomes 8. And I go back to look and say, okay, 21 is the bigger number and it's negative. So that negative becomes a part of my answer. All right, now subtraction, we use the idea of keep, change, change. So we have negative 33 minus 4. And what I always like to do is put that second number in parentheses. You notice at the bottom I do, but it kind of keeps it separated from the minus sign and doesn't get you confused that it's not saying negative 33, negative 4. It's saying minus, and the 4 is positive in this case. So if we use our lingo, keep, we're going to keep negative 33 the same. We're going to change that minus to plus, and we're going to flip the 4, the positive 4, to a negative 4. And if we notice, it looks just like that problem, right? So we're going to add and keep the sign and get negative 37. The bottom number is going to be doing the same thing. It's just now we have a negative 4 instead of positive 4. So we're going to keep, change, and then we're going to change again and get positive 4. So this one looks just like that problem. We're going to subtract different signs and get 29. And we notice that the bigger sign, the bigger number is 33, and it's negative. So we take that negative with us and make it a part of our answer and get negative 29. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how to work these negative numbers. And again, you can come back to this video at any time, use it as a resource, and kind of walk through these examples that I have done here for you. So let's move forward. What's a real world application? Well, we kind of said it, weather, right? When you get on there and look at the weather channel, it gives you negatives and it gives you positives sometimes. Now, if it's negative, that is a cold day and we probably shouldn't be out running around and doing things. But weather can go into the negatives and it can be in the positive. So just a real world example that we found, and there's probably multiple other ones that you can think of, but I kind of wanted to refer back to your engage part and say that weather and temperature have this idea of negative and positive and how it's applied in our real world. So moving forward, this is what you're going to see from now on, all right? It again, it looks like Connects You, right? We have all the different titles, the different sections for you to work in. If you notice, there is an Explore section above Explain. I just didn't show it on here. It's a chance for you to get into some resources. There's some, that cheat sheet is there under the read part. There's a do part for practice and different things for you to explore. And kind of get some better knowledge on top of this video to enhance your understanding. The explain section, if you notice there, is real simple. I say explain this in your own words, and when I ask you to write in the document, you just go ahead and write in the document. You notice that the response right there. What I want you to do is come right to this part and just start typing in that box your answer. All right, and that's okay. It's a part of the document. The evaluate section is typically going to be you working in your unit to know that you are working in your unit to get you in there. So your first checkpoint that you're going to complete in this unit is sign numbers, and that's the very first one. So that's part of the evaluate section. The elaborate is something that we use like an assignment for you to do in a kind of like a real world application setting. So if you notice there's a template for you to click on, all right, and it's actually going to have you use a problem that's already given to you, respond in a way of you telling the story. How would you tell a story using those negative numbers? Well, one, you could maybe use temperature. We kind of talked about that, but be creative and describe what's happening in that problem with those negative numbers. And at the end, you will solve the problem to give the actual number, but you're going to actually be able to come up with a creative story to explain how we use addition and subtraction in a real world setting. And again, be creative. When you're done, if you copy or cut and paste that link into right in that section, then I'll be able to view it and grade it from there on. And again, like Express, like in ConnectU, Express is a way for you to reflect on the week and kind of be honest. And again, you can type that answer right into that section on this document. And then when you're all done, like any other cool down, you're going to request some feedback. So this is what we're going to be doing from these moments on, is you working through these lesson plans to enhance your understanding of the topic that we're on. Some important stuff. Finish up power focus areas. If you have not done so already, there has been a lot in this unit. You need to make sure that you're getting in there, doing the diagnostic tests, and finishing them up this week if you can. And that would be kind of the goal for you this week, is to do that. So if you are setting goals, and some you have, maybe that's a goal for you, is to finish up those power focus areas and start working through the checkpoints. Again, this video has assigned you the first checkpoint, but hopefully after you're done with that, you can kind of keep rolling and continue to work through those and request feedback and gain a better understanding of how to apply your knowledge. Due date, October 25th. That could be subject to change, but that's the moment, that's the kind of goal that we're going to set and move forward. And it seems like it's a far time away, but it's not really. It's coming up pretty fast. It's in a couple weeks, so we need to continue to work through this unit. And if you need to ask for help, do so. Send me a hangout, send me an email, we can Zoom, whatever you need. Make sure that you're doing what you can to get help and to ask me for help, because again, that due date can come up pretty quickly. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you were able to learn something. Get into that lesson, start working, enhance your knowledge, and use it for the rest of the week in what you're learning. I hope you have a great week, and we will talk to each other soon.